bring back a segment. Alabama, what do you got for us?
It's time for TK's Tweet of the Week.
Oh, I'm calling this one.
Music to my ears.
Yes.
I'm calling this one a portrait of calendar clutter. Let me first say this. You don't have to live like this. Although I know so many people who live exactly like this. In fact, they think it's virtuous. The picture you see on your screen right now is a picture of one person's calendar for a day. And it not only is aesthetically a nightmare, but it causes stress for me. Can you read the tweet itself?
Oh my
Alabama?
gosh, yes. I can read this terrible looking Tetris board. This comes from Claire VO. As a chief product officer, I'm one of the lucky folks that get to live my perfect workday every day. 30% recruiting, 5% being recruited, 50% people in team, 30% strategy, 40% IC work, 30% customers, 20% yelling OKRS into the wind, 5% coding. Oh my gosh, this gives me so much anxiety to look at.
It seems like 300% busy.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't do the math there, but
I'm not good at math, but yeah, that definitely exceeds 100.
and I think the problem here is it presupposes being busy is the most important thing. Filling every minute of every day is the most important thing. But what are you doing with those hours? What are you creating? Who are you serving? How are you adding value? And by the way, if this is the best way to add value, then so be it. I'm not saying I'm against this for everyone. I'm certainly against living like this for me, because I used to have a calendar like this. And it made no time for spontaneity, but it also made no time for me. I was absent from this calendar. And so I had to let that go. If you look at my calendar today, there's almost nothing on it. If you look at my calendar this week, there are very few things on it. So I can say yes to the most important things.
Yeah. If you work for her, are you free to admit that you don't like the way that calendar looks? Here's what I will say in devil's advocate defense of Claire. I'm going to take her word for it when she says that's her dream schedule. And if that's her dream schedule, I can't be a hypocrite and say I love stories about Kobe Bryant being up at 3:00 in the morning when everybody else is getting home from the club working on his free throws. I'm not so eager to hop on the anti-hustle bro train that I will condemn anybody who finds joy in getting after it and working hard just because it looks differently than the way I want it to look. At the same time, there is definitely a social game that happens in a lot of workplaces where people are driving themselves into the ground. And this is sort of like the calendar version of laughing at your boss's jokes that you don't think is funny because you want to be in good, right? And for a lot of people, it's sort of like mimetic desire is heaviest in that kind of space where people have lost themselves a long time ago because they're trying so hard to look productive. One of the reasons why a lot of people started to experience so much joy and freedom when we were kind of forced to go remote is because they achieved this state of being able to be judged by the quality of their output rather than how hard it looks like they're working. There are a lot of people in workspaces who it's not about the value they create. It's about the optics that they got to keep up. And those games are silly. So if anybody is looking at that, thinking that that's how you need to be a player in the world, that's silly. There's so many ways to be productive and make money. You don't have to be like that. But if that's Claire's dream, more power to you, because I'm sure my dreams look crazy and stressful to other people too.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And if that's Claire's dream, brava to her.
Yeah.
Please don't batter me with your dreams, because that would make me fake busy, right?
Yeah.
I'm busy, but my busyness would be fake because it wouldn't be in alignment with what I want to do with my days, what I want to do with my calendar. And it would stress me out in a way that is counterproductive. And so if it works for you, great. But I decided to opt out of calendar clutter a long time ago. Professor John.
I just want to play devil's advocate as well. I'm looking at this closely, and Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., there's a half-hour block called DNS. And looking at the Twitter thread, Claire clarifies that means do not schedule. So she is setting that boundary Wednesday at 10 a.m. for a half hour. Good for her.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, that is the irony of this is, yeah, I used to have to block off times as well in the corporate world, right? But I only have half an hour that I can actually block off, right? And the irony is like, oh, but what if I need a day? What if I have a project I want to start working on? This is when boundaries become too rigid. We're set up this many boundaries. I don't make room for any of the spontaneity. If I freeze all of the water in my house, how am I going to drink any of it?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.